Did you know that alternative animal medicine options existed? I was always skeptical about acupuncture for people, which I know is kind of silly because acupuncture's been around for like thousands of years, and now it's kind of funny that here I am pursuing this path. So you're probably wondering, how'd I get to this point, right? Why am I pursuing an animal acupuncture certification? I was still curious to learn about things beyond the usual Western animal medicine side of things. And what pushed me in this direction is I was hearing testimonials and seeing videos of owners on the verge of euthanasia, and they got acupuncture treatment done on their pets, and it changed their pet completely. It's so cool to know that there are so many other options out there to help treat patients. It's wild how many times I've either been working in a clinic or I've been the owner coming into the clinic where the doctor says there isn't much they can do beyond the Western medicine side of things. Boom, here comes acupuncture like, hey, try me. And that's so cool. I'm gonna graduate with the DVM and I'm gonna have the Western medicine side of things. And then I'm gonna also have this traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture. And it's like, I'm gonna feel a little bit unstoppable. I started my traditional Chinese veterinary medicine class sessions through the Qi University back in September, and I had my first lab in October. Now, I'm definitely not an expert yet, but the most important thing I've learned so far is that the purpose of acupuncture isn't to cure or get rid of the problem entirely. Acupuncture is used to reduce symptoms so that the animal can live a happier and better life. It was really cool. They sent us these packages in the mail with our books and a bunch of other resources. Frequently asked questions for when I'm a doctor, I think. Do you have a question about acupuncture? Needle starter kit. Sterilized. I'm learning about acupuncture. Yeah, and one of my favorite resources they gave us are these charts. These charts help me locate different points, which are based on channels. These channels will usually flow front to back, and then the next channel will go back to front. Now, obviously, I'm being super vague when I'm talking about this, but that's because I just started. And I don't know much, and I don't want to come on here and misspeak. Also, since this is Chinese medicine, a lot of these points aren't in English. I'm not even gonna try and attempt and then end up butchering the language, but I'm gonna get there eventually. It's wild all the things that acupuncture can focus on based on which points you target. You can target different conditions like cancer, inflammation, joint issues, epilepsy, emotional disorders, organ failure. Like, this is so crazy to me. The coolest part is that the point locations are pretty much the same as the point locations when doing acupuncture in humans. Okay, well, there's this one point called tip of tail, and humans don't have tails, so that one doesn't really count. But for the most part, it's the same. Like, there's this calming point at the top of the head, and our instructor told us that she would needle herself before exams to calm down. Now, I don't know about you, but I am not about to go stick needles into myself, let alone into my head. But it's so cool that it's the same. So when you go to sign up for acupuncture, there's two different paths you can take. There's a small animal path, which is what I'm taking, and the other one is horses, I believe, but I don't know too much about that because I'm not really interested in that. Now, at a first glance, a bunch of online sessions seems kind of overwhelming, especially while you're in school. Like, look, this one session has 20 lectures within it and 2 quizzes. Okay, but it really is not that bad. It's also new and different that it just starts to click, and it's just super cool to take notes on, and it all just starts to make sense. So you guys know I usually type and I print my notes, but for this format I took pictures of the diagrams from the book and I put it onto my iPad on Notability, and then I just hand wrote a bunch of notes on my iPad, which ended up helping me a lot when we had our first lab. I am very proud of these notes. Like, they are so... See, I was just like taking some quick notes in class. Here is where I uploaded the diagrams, and then when we had our first lab I was just like making little notes of what she said about the things. And yeah, I have these charts, and these charts are great, but it's also nice to just have something that like I hand wrote on. This whole thing of taking notes really helped me make things click. She made this one analogy that these 3 points are called the bowling ball, so I just went and put a picture of a bowling ball. I don't know, maybe I'm just a dork, but I really enjoyed taking notes on my iPad for this class, and I feel like it helped a lot. Now, sometimes in lecture, I absolutely have no idea what's going on, and these lectures are just going in one ear and out the other. They'll be like, you use these set of points for this condition, or these set of points for that condition, and honestly, I am not going to remember that. And even going into my first lab, I was kind of like, I don't really know any of this stuff, but the lab just made me feel so good. It all just started to make sense the minute I started to apply it and like actually locate those points. And then my friend and I started doing this thing where we would send each other pictures of the points that we would locate on our dog to really just help us memorize locating where these things are. Something that made me nervous about all of this is that I'm learning all of these new points. How the heck do I even know if I'm hitting the right spot? And how am I supposed to remember all of these places? Am I gonna screw up? Like, am I gonna stick a needle in a dog and paralyze it? These are valid concerns. So during my first lab, which was unfortunately online because we're in a pandemic, I had my instructor ensure me plenty of times that I really can't do damage while needling. Like, if I'm targeting a point and I miss that point, it's really not that bad. Even though this lab was online, it was awesome. How could an online lab be awesome? Even though it was all on Zoom, it's the most engaged I've been in school throughout this entire pandemic. It was from like 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, and the instructor was so great. She would show us points and different channels on her dog, and then go through each person on the Zoom call to make sure we all got it on our dogs. And if I didn't understand something or I wasn't getting it right, she'd have me readjust my camera or explain it with different types of analogies to really make sure I got it.
On one side of the styloid process, about halfway up the ramp for 7, and then on the other side of that styloid process in that joint space for 9. So here's 36. And then I follow that anterior tibialis muscle all the way down until it turns into tendon. So I want to be right in that muscle. That's 39.
I'm super excited to experience this lab in person because then we're gonna actually get to needle and find points on dogs that aren't my own dog. Also, don't worry, I'm not doing any type of needling just yet. For this lab, I was just kind of poking around and trying to find those points, learning how to pretty much feel and count distances with my hands. But I did already get a box of needles, and the instructor recommended that I start needling in orange to kind of get a feel of how the needle feels. Also, no pressure. You don't have to take these courses right now. You can take them during vet school or when you graduate and have your DVM already. I just wanted to take this now to get it out of the way. You know, I'm already in vet school studying. I might as well study something else at the same time. And right now I'm on break, so I can kind of commit some time to this, go about it however I want to go about it. And I just can't wait for the opportunity when I get to actually apply it in clinics. There are even veterinarian testimonials where they talk about different types of cases where they use this, and the results are awesome. There was this one vet testimonial where she was saying that there was a cat in kidney failure and they had pretty much exhausted their resources in the clinic. They went and did a couple of days of acupuncture treatments and the outcome was crazy. You know, like just having those awesome results. I just can't wait for the day that I get to be the veterinarian on the other side of the camera talking about my cases and how my treatments are completely changing patients' lives. I can't wait to keep you guys updated on my journey and just see where this takes me.